to where you can go to the next stop. And you can hire this person for this and that person for that. And that's the reality of it. And you're smiling because you've been there and done that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And so, we go from where we are to where we want to be by using our minds and our tools to do what we need and finding the people that we need to free us up from doing the things that we shouldn't do and spend more time on things that we should. And that's what makes businesses successful. And that's part of the keys.
Hmm.
Now, when I first talk to someone and look at their business, I got 12 areas that I look at and go over to help them plan a way to get from where they want to go to improve their business and do it quick and fast and profitably. And I tell people, most of my serious clients can see significant money start to show up in their bank accounts and profits in about 90 days, and then it goes up substantially from there over time. But I got 40 more to follow on with when we get there to go to the next step, because no matter where you are in business, if you're in a growth mode and you want to grow, when you peak this peak in the mountain range that's behind you that you're looking at, or in front of you, as the case might be, you always see another place you want to go. It's higher. And in business, if people are at less than 100,000, they want 100. And when they get to there, they want 250. And when they get to there, they want 500,000 and then 1,000,000 and more. And people like you and I are equipped to help them successfully accomplish that if they work with us. But what I tell people, and it says on my website, if you look on my website at gammonassociates.net and you go to the About page, it says, I help serious business people. Because the truth is, the best plan, if I give it to you and you don't implement it or you don't work on it the way you should, won't happen. But if you're working with someone like you or me, we'll keep you on target. We'll make you accountable and we'll help you take it into bite-sized pieces that you can accomplish and celebrate the victories along the way. That's why I wrote the book, Fast Track Your Business Journey and Thrive Along the Pathway, to help people sort of get an insight into what can be done. And you know what? No matter who you are, you're very powerful. God gave us all a lot of gifts and talents, different ones to different folks. But if we just use the talents we have in the ways that we can achieve miracles.
Yeah. Well said, Bill. Talk to me a little bit about the hurdles of doing these things that you're talking about, because I'm in my mid 50s and I've got the patience, back when I started business, my grandfather always taught me, businesses take 3 to 5 years even to make a dollar. So be patient. And I always believed in that, and I still do today. But, everybody wants everything now. And they look at some of these things that you're talking about and things that I've talked about, developing your plan and having a vision, your core values, and conveying that message to your customers. They look at those things as extra, or I don't necessarily need them. And I know you've talked about these are how things start, but how do we get people out of that mindset to shift gears from these are extra to these have to be done if you want to succeed?
It's pretty simple. When it really comes down to it, those who want to succeed will not just talk the talk, they'll walk the walk. And those who want to succeed understand that failure is not an end. It's just one thing that didn't work. And you look at how many extremely successful people failed a multitude of times before they got successful.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, from the biggest names you can hear, whether it was Einstein or Edison or whoever, they kept doing what they knew would get them to where they wanted to go. And they kept using the scientific method that they were using to successfully accomplish what they wanted to achieve.
I just heard a great quote. It's not how many times you get knocked down, it's how many times you get back up is where you find success.
Well, one of the coaches in my life early was Zig Ziglar.
Mm-hmm.
And he said it's not getting knocked down, it's how you bounce back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, that's right.
Another coach that was really one of the most religious men that I've ever run into was Norman Vincent Peale.
Mm-hmm.
And he, in a sermon to our First Baptist Church in Pensacola, Florida, the year after Camille came through and tore up the Gulf Coast, our church had gone over and rebuilt a little church in Pascagoula, Mississippi. And he brought us the Church of the Year award in the United States for that year. And when he was delivering the award in the sermon that was presenting the award, he said this: "Thank God for the bottom, because there's no way to go from there but up. And when you go up, you're above the hope line. And the hope line, what I say, is that east and west line across the middle. If you're above the hope line, you're spiraling up. And if you're below, you're spiraling down. And that's when you really need someone like you or me to throw out the lifesaver and help you see that and help you get out of the quagmire and the quicksand that you're currently in."
I like to say our quote. My business coach a few years ago, David Meltzer, he always said, "We paid the dummy tax, so you don't have to." And that's what's great about having coaches. We've got a lifetime of making mistakes, and hopefully we can eliminate some of those mistakes for you along the way. I had a question for you, and that's how do you help people clarify their calling in their work and in their own worlds?
Okay. First, you have to get them to tell you what they really want to do.
Yeah.
And once you hear that, you get them to really try to drill down on it some. Because if you look at the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule that most business people know, that 20% of stuff produces 80% of stuff in any business. And then that might even be 90-10 in some. But if you look at that and you take it one step further, and you take that 20% and you use the Pareto principle on that, now you got it boiled down to what's really important. And you can really get more clarity when you start to drill further and deeper. So sometimes you say this to someone. You say, think about it. And other times you say this, pray about it. And I think the ones that pray about it get there sooner, because when you got help from that source, there's no higher source to seek help from.
I certainly appreciate you saying that, because, God opens doors for us and it's up to us to walk through them. He also closes them too. So when he's closing a door on you, make sure you realize that's what's happening. But, I've operated with the faith over fear motto since my kids were born, and I haven't missed a moment. And I think, to your point, listen to what's being told to you from a higher power.
Exactly. And when you have the faith to trust in yourself, it's like Rudyard Kipling. Are you familiar with his If poem?
No, I'm not actually.
It basically comes down to, if you can trust yourself when all about you don't, and still go forward, then you're a man, my son. But I won't waste time to go through the whole thing with you. The first time I saw it, it was handwritten on a yellow legal pad in my father's handwriting.
I'm making a note as you're talking there.
It starts out, if you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can deal with triumph and disaster and treat both these two impostors just the same, if you can fill the unfulfilling minute with 60 seconds full of distant run, things like that, written by someone many years ago are still very useful in helping someone who's a little downtrodden or a little disappointed or greatly disappointed for whatever reason, because some things just don't appear fair in life. And helping someone that's gone through some of those things is some of the things that we need to do from time to time, and helping those that are out there. Because when we do, not only do they gain something, but we do too. And it's not financial reward, it's psychic reward. And that's one of the best things for all of us to get, because when we reach out a hand and help someone else, we're doing God's work.
That's right. That's right. And another great statement and philosophy there. You know, I try to help as many people as I can, and you've told me that you do the same. And I think there needs to be more people like us, and hopefully we can help influence others to do the same. And you're right, it's not always a financial reward, nor is that the intent. It is psychological, and I think we're doing what God's asked us to do. So thank you for sharing that and being honest and forthright with your beliefs.
Well, the only way to prove to someone you're transparent is to tell them things. And it's sort of like I tell some people, doing the next right thing is what we all try to do. But doing the next right thing isn't always easy. And doing the next easy thing isn't always right.
Well, you're right about that, Bill. Look, it's really been a pleasure to have you on the show. I'd like to have you back sometime in the next couple months, and we can continue this conversation. I think your message is important, and people need to hear more of it.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure. Anyone that wants to reach out to me can do so at Gammon and Associates, GammonandAssociates.net. And on that website, you'll find some free gifts. My book, Fast Track Your Business Journey, a way to look at your website, a way to do other things, a way to get to me just to ask me a question on my nickel, not yours. And so I'm more than happy to help those who are looking for it. And if you just look and it all gets decided and you're happy without me, that's okay. But if you need someone who is sincere about helping you, if you're serious, I'm your guy. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward.
Oh,
and if I'm not your guy, Jim might be, or he may know someone, or I may know someone who is. And what I say is, you don't get help when you don't ask for it. And a lot of people, all you have to do is ask. One of the best sales books in the world is the Bible. Knock and the door will be open. Seek and you'll be found. Ask and it'll be given.
Mm-hmm.
All they need to do is reach out and ask. Think of the multitude of people that could be saved from whatever it is they're facing if they reached out and asked instead of did something that would end their life. That's not the picture that any of us would want. But more and more people in America today have chosen that choice. And in every situation, there's probably lots of people, friends or family, who wish they'd have known more or had the opportunity to help them. It's the world we live in. But there's a lot of good people in the world, like you and me, that all they have to do is come and ask.
Well, it's well said, and I appreciate you again. So we look forward to having you back. I'm going to make sure that your website is on the show notes along with some of these other discussions, and I'm going to try to get that Kipling if up on there as well. So thank you for sharing that with us. Bill, we look forward to having you coming back.
My pleasure, Jim.
Thank you for listening to today's show. It is my pleasure and honor to interview all of the guests that have been on the Answer is Yes podcast. If you have enjoyed the show, please go on iTunes and subscribe, give a rating, or simply tell a friend about the show. We also believe in the message of our